Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Late Night Craft Talk. And let's get that countdown timer going right now. It looks like, well, one clock says 9:50, the other says 9:51, but I'm going to go with the 9:51. So 10 minutes till the fun starts. Now, folks, oh, I got all the little beeps going on saying that we're live on 3 different Facebook pages, 2 YouTube channels, and 2 Twitch channels. We're growing.
Wow.
We will be the #1 late night talk show about crafts in Antarctica. We will be rated #1.
Antarctica.
We're working our way. So, folks, if you haven't heard, Kelly Jo Miller is the co-host tonight.
Hello.
Hello. She's back. She's co-hosted a couple of times. Thank you, Kelly Jo. Always awesome.
Anytime.
Savea's traveling this week. She'll be back next week's show. And if you didn't catch the subject tonight, it is Featherwork. We have returning guests, and I think it's what? 3rd time? 4th time? Scott, what is it? 3rd or 4th time? Just hold up your fingers. 4th? 3rd time on Late Night Craft Talk. We have a friend of the show, Scott Sutton. Scott is a very respected bead worker. He's published many books on Native American bead styles and is an incredible bead worker, feather worker, and just an awesome person. And I believe he's a retired professional wrestler.
Wow.
Oh, he's busting up. I see Scott in the background right there going, all right, we got a few folks getting ready to watch here. Now, folks, remember, let us know where you are, who you're from. I messed that up. Who you are and where you're from. So you ready for tonight, Kelly Jo?
I believe I am. It's been a long day, but we'll make it.
Gotcha. Hey, did you buy anything during Prime Day this week?
No.
No?
I didn't know there was a special bargain day or something?
Yeah, Amazon for the Prime members does this thing where they throw out basically a Black Friday special, but in the middle of July. And I'll show some of the things I bought this week.
I completely missed it.
It was cool. So tonight we're doing Featherwork. We'll be showing how to do it. We're bringing the craft back into the name Late Night Craft Talk to show what we're doing. And folks, I see more people signing on. Let me know who you are, where you're from. And I need to share. Have you shared, Kelly Jo?
Shared? Yeah, I did, actually.
I'm doing it now.
Shared it to a few people.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Usually Savea's tagging a bunch of people. I'm getting ready to share right now, too.
I'm sharing one right now.
Yeah, I got where I'm getting tagged. All right, we have a comment. Wrinkles. We had a comment from somebody that's not showing up on the general. What the heck? Okay, just a weird comment from that. I'm like, weird. Dennis Montelepre, if you're watching, what? That's all I can say on that one. All right, let me get this shared right here. You know, Facebook does this new thing where you set profiles when you have business pages, and you can hear me talk in the background. It's weird.
Yeah, and they did something weird with Messenger. That's kind of what screwed me up. It kept going back to my creative page.
Gotcha. All right, I'm putting in we're live for this week's episode of Late Night Craft Talk. Thank goodness for predictive text. Share. All right, I got mine shared. Scott, did you do it? We'll find out. All right, we got 5 people watching. All right, tonight's Featherwork. And we've got 6 minutes and 11 seconds to go.
Woohoo.
Yeah, we're waiting. Matter of fact, I was looking up earlier because every week I always look up, jokes to tell and stuff like that, and usually get up joke or something like that. And I typed in Featherwork jokes, and there's this list of jokes about feathers that a bunch of school kids made. We're elementary school kids.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to Google it right quick because some of them are so tongue-in-cheek, I got to share it. Okay. Featherwork jokes. I'm typing into Google right now.
Are they like popsicle stick jokes?
Probably. And of course, when I do it, sometimes I wonder how my computer doesn't blow up the way when I start typing. I'm like, how do I miss that many keys? Okay. Well, I can't find them. God darn it, I should have done this. One of them was up jokes. Feather jokes make you laugh out loud. Oh, this is weird. Feather jokes will make you laugh out loud. Puns.
While
Feather,
you're looking, guess what I did today?
what'd you do?
Went to Lake Paris and hiked around to my elderberry patch and harvested about 30 pounds
What are you gonna make with the elderberries?
of jelly, jam, and tea, and maybe wine. Maybe.
Elderberry wine. Why do I keep on thinking of Monty Python?
I don't know.
You smell like elderberries.
Huh?
Well, your father was a Connecticut, and your mother smelled of elderberries. It's a line from Monty Python, the Holy Grail.
Oh,
Lord Almighty! I mean, if you're one of these people who goes, I never watched it. You and I are gonna have a talk, and
I
then
don't even know how that connects, but I mean, with that, I don't know what smelling like elderberries is. I know what elderberries smell like, and they're not bad.
It's British humor.
That's why.
Scott should get him. He likes Downton Abbey.
I love Downton Abbey.
Scott, matter of fact, when Scott was on the show the first time, we did a Downton Abbey themed show and mixed it with Monty Python, just because we did British humor. And there's like a movie made. There's another like a spin sequel or something like that coming up.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay, we got some comments coming up. Folks, let us know who you are, where you're from. Let's see. I know we got a lot of people watching. Let's hear some comments. We got to make sure we have the president of the Friday Ninja Monster Hunter Squad on.
Oh, gotta have them.
Gotta have them. Well, I cannot find these jokes. Well,
make one up.
Okay.
Feather jokes.
Feather jokes. There's jokes there, but this is a family-friendly show. Even the ones that are kind of like tame are still racy on this website, wherever I'm looking.
I think you're looking at Boas.
Gotcha. Oh, we got the president of the Friday Ninja Monster Hunter Squad on. We got Maya. Hello from Chula.
Yeah. Hiya, Maya.
All right, we got Maya on. Do we have Wendy Hodge or Carol Ann? Nope. All right. We're waiting, or they're being shy. Look, come on. We got a lot of people watching tonight. That's awesome. And yes, folks, we are live because you can tell because we're responding. Okay. 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So you do the elderberry. Do you ever collect any of the cattail over around Lake Paris?
Oh yeah. Not at Lake Paris. Well, I did once, and we all kayaked over to the island, and I had brought my stove, so I cooked it up for everybody to try. It tastes like corn, a real light flavor of corn to me. You know, you have to get a lot of cattail to make a decent side dish.
Got it. Well, I mean, folks, you don't know, Kelly Jo does a heck of a job collecting elderberries, cattail, making dishes with it. I mean, every time I go out kayaking with her, it's like I get schooled on something.
You get schooled?
There's things I don't know, but I remember one time we went out and she's like, I'm going to take this cactus, this rock, and this creosote bark, and I'm going to make spaghetti. And I'll be dang.
I did. It was delicious.
And she made a full pizza.
Now
and an airplane propeller.
Yeah, she could use the fiber of stinging nettle and then make a chickpea and stinging nettle pesto for your pizza.
That sounds not tasty.
It actually is. We did that up at Julian.
Gotcha. I had somebody make a soup with stinging nettle. It was really good for a cough. It was quite cool.
Soup is I've been making that soup for years and years.
Gotcha. All right. We have Maya. Everybody's awesome. Let's see. We got to answer questions. I'm doing okay. How you doing, Kelly Jo?
I'm good.
Oh, Wendy's on. Wendy's on. Hi, Kelly Jo and James.
Hi.
Wendy, have you seen Thor Ragnarok or Thor Love and Thunder yet? Oh, look, hold on. We can't answer that. You ready for countdown, Kelly Jo? We got 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, ready to count down, folks? Count down with us. Here we go. God, 10 minutes goes real fast. It's too quick for this party. All right, we got 10.
9.
8.
7.
6.
5.
4,
3,
2,
1.
party time, folks. Let's go. The show begin.
Stop.
It's time for Late Night Craft Talk with hosts Sabea Kamori Yang and James Hermes. On this week's show, we have returning guest host Kelly Jo Miller on tonight. And this week's show, Featherwork, with special guest Scott Sutton. 2 Native Americans walk into a restaurant. The concierge asks, "Do you have reservations?" One of the guys replies, "Yes, mine's in Oklahoma and his is in Arizona." It's time to start the show. Are you dancing? With a feather, with feathers.
I've got an ounce of energy left, and I'm using it for this.
Gotcha. I was kind of tempted. I got some of my featherwork here. I'll be showing a little bit just as an example. We started doing over the crafts of featherwork, but I was thinking of like at one point I was gonna have this little bucket pull and there's be feathers fall for me. Just to overdo it, and I went, wait, that 5 seconds of laughs is 15 minutes worth of cleaning.
Oh yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Nah, it's no fun.
But it's the thought that counts. So with that, folks, if this is your first time or your 15th time, or we've done this many episodes, 100th time watching Late Night Craft Talk, you know what we're about. But if your first time, this is a show that is held collaboratively between Dancing Bear Indian Trader and Elk Rack Traders to showcase artists and their artwork and people that are inspiring and information, and just have a lot of fun on a Friday night and provide and have a cool place. We started during the pandemic. Things starting to wind down, but we keep the show going because you make us do it, folks. We have so much fun with you.
I try to make it every Friday.
And yeah, Kelly Jo is either commenting like crazy or she's on the show.
Yeah.
She has crossed that line. Oh.
I forget when I'm on the show and think I'm just watching. So
just remember, because if you can see yourself on the screen, you're not just watching, you're on the show.
Yeah, I know. Just bump me once in a while and remind me, hey.
Okay.
You're not just watching. There you go. That's what I need.
So we got a lot of show tonight, so we need to get over to business, but let's cover a couple quick things. Announcement from Dancing Bear Indian Trader. They still have limited quantities. I'm going to read this as of some Savea. So I need to get the purple hair going. Let me get my lips done. I have to have a pretty hat. I don't have one. We'll just pretend. We have limited quantities of smooth dentalia packs on our website available for purchase. So Dancing Bear Indian Trader still has the smooth dentalia. That stuff is hard to find. Let me tell you, that is rare.
What is it?
Dentalia. It's a freshwater shell.
Oh.
Real common in the Northwest, and you see a lot of long dentalia earrings of powwows and Northern Plains tribes. I love working with, but finding that smooth stuff is hard. You know, you can find largely is the ridge stuff that's coming in from like India, and even that's getting overfarmed and rare. So when they have that, folks, get the opportunity, stock up while you can, while you get it, because honestly, I have. All right, and from Elk Rack Traders, last weekend we were at Wrightwood Mountaineer Days over between San Bernardino and Hesperia and Victorville. It's up in the mountains, the San Gabriel Mountains. It was, oh boy, back home and here in India it was 114 degrees. Up there, the high was 84 degrees.
Oh, you got a break.
Yeah, and for our Canadian viewers, I don't know what that is in centigrade, so y'all do the math and let me know.
That's a heat wave.
Yeah, it's a heat wave to them in Canada, but 84 degrees, I'm like, I want to go. It was a lot of fun. Stayed with a friend of mine. Only get to see him every so often, Dennis Montelepre, who's watching the show. And got to see Pete Whitehorse and some friends. It was really cool. Got to see some folks I haven't seen since the pandemic started, and a lot of fun. Some folks came up to see us just because of the show, and it was awesome talking with y'all. So love you to death. It's awesome. They're very cool. Excuse me. So that's the announcements of what's going on. Folks, comment online. Don't text me because the phone makes noises. Please just use the commentary. All right, Kelly Jo rocks. I'm looking at some of the comments from our viewers. Wendy Hodge says she watches all the episodes. Wendy, there's that one you missed. And I'm not going to tell you, which means you need to go back and rewatch every single episode. You missed one too? Is it the one you're on?
I hope not.
Got it.
You let me know later.
Okay. Wendy says, Not yet. Had to catch up on Strange New Worlds and Obi-Wan. Strange New Worlds. Oh, Star Trek. I love that season finale. And then we have also What We Do in the Shadows. She's binging a lot. Okay. That means watching shows, not. Okay. All right. With that, did you see any of the pictures from the James Webb Space Telescope that appeared on Monday's press conference, I believe? You see
I
any of them?
didn't. I don't think so.
That is something to behold. Matter of fact, let me.
Let's
I
see it.
want to share. Huh?
Let's see it.
I did, folks. Back in last January, we did a show on a STEM show based on satellites and vehicle space exploration. We featured, and it had just been launched like 2 weeks before, the James Webb Space Telescope. That is the big, massive, I believe, 6.5 meter long wide mirror telescope that has been making the news all week with incredible photos. If you haven't seen it, y'all need to. And let's go ahead and show some of the photos right here. Now, there's a lot of science going on in here. This is, I believe, called the Quintuplets Galaxy. I'm getting that name wrong. I know I am, but you're looking at actually 5 galaxies with 2 of them colliding. And the fact is that the pictures from like Hubble, maybe they were fuzzy, but you can see what's going on. The clarity resolution on these is crazy.
That's awesome.
Going on, huh?
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I'm
stunning.
doing one. This one right here, that's just centered, and you see a little red streak coming down. There's a supermassive black hole in that thing, and it's spitting out gas out the top of it, and that's the gas plume, plasma gas plume it's ejecting.
The one below it looks like a seahorse.
It's not. That's actually 2 galaxies that are getting ready to collide. So with that, a lot of science going on. This is the Carina Nebula, and previous pictures from, like, say, Hubble showed like this distinct line, and you can see some gases. The fact is we can see so much detail is amazing.
Wow.
But the one that's really getting people on the science of this is this one. Now, originally this was taken in late 90s, was called the Hubble Deep Field Image. This is the same area with galaxies that were little smudges are now like defined, and you can see what's going on and more behind them. The oldest of these galaxies is a red one off in the corner that's 13.2 billion light years away. But the science in this, and folks, this is something checking out. Wendy Hodge says Star Nursery. If you look, some of these pictures, some of these pictures are curved. It's like, why?
Almost looks like a koi fish pond.
It's not. Those are galaxies. We're looking at 10,000 galaxies right there, but they're curved. And so the thing is what is the disturbance that is creating a gravitational lensing? What is the disturbance that is causing that light to curve on that? And some says it's the galaxy cluster in the center of the picture. Well, actually, that's not the case. Scientists have gone through and gotten spectroscopy, that word, and they've checked it. And what it is, it's an object that's coming closer and traveling at incredible speeds. Matter of fact, it's ludicrous how fast it's going. And this is the image they were able to get from it. The flying Winnebago from Spaceballs, folks. It's real science.
Makes all the sense in the world now.
Yeah, real science, folks, right there. It's going ludicrous speed.
I thought it was like a universal.
What's that?
I thought it was a universal tsunami with those curves.
Yes. Yes, yes.
But it's this.
No. Anyway, so that's what we got, folks. That is our STEM session. We wanted to cover a little bit of the news of James Webb Space Telescope, and now we're on to the meat of the show. Let me do a couple things to see who we got. Anybody? Wendy says that she hasn't missed an episode. If she misses it, she watches the next day.
Oh.
Because she couldn't move her movie watching STEM night to Saturday instead of Friday night. Wendy, I'm calling you on that. I'm still going to hear about this. She and I text after the show. Star Nursery, and we have any other comments? Ludicrous speed. And Wendy says, my finger does that. I don't want to know what that means. Okay. On to the meat of the show. Now, folks, we have special guests with us this week. Scott Sutton, who's coming back on to talk about Featherwork. And, folks, big late night craft talk. Give a big hi, big happy face to Scott Sutton. Scott, thank you for coming back. Welcome to Late Night Craft Talk.
Yeah, well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Gotcha. What'd you think of the science of the flying Winnebago there in the James Webb Space Telescope image?
Well, Spaceballs couldn't have done it any better.
I know. It just that movie came out what?
Ludicrous time ago.
Ludicrous time ago, 30-something years ago, and the amazing science behind that is still proving that what it brought out as science fact is being accepted as science fact. Especially if you watch Breitbart News. Okay. With that, all right. So we're bringing back the craft in Late Night Craft Talk, and this is an episode we want to be doing for a while. And Scott's agreed to come on and help us with it. And I mean, Scott, you're such a phenomenal artist. You're going to steal the show. You are to talk about it. Is Featherwork. We're going to be talking about feather construction, the way you straighten it, some of the crafts you can do with it, and the finished products. And with that, that's what we're doing. And so we have a lot of show that's concentrating on that one. Folks, you'll be seeing everything from straightening feathers with light bulb to glue guns to amazing beadwork coming out on it. And Kelly Joe is going to start a feather project. You want to start that now, Kelly Joe?
Oh well, yeah. Just
remember,
like
you're
very
not
minor now. After hearing all that, I don't know. I might want to see some ideas first. You know.
Well, let's see where inspiration moves you.
I'm gonna start playing anyway.
Okay. All right. Scott, we didn't really talk about the content we're going to put each of the videos, but let's go ahead and should we go ahead and show your work?
Sure.
And then check the fans, and then we'll show some of the techniques on there with the video clips I told you about.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and you walk us through what we're looking at, and we're going to look at starting a feather fan, an actual the feathers and the stages you use to make the fans. And we've got a few projects here to show tonight. So let me go ahead and get that up. Here we go. There we are.
Okay. Well, on the left side of the picture, you see these are imitation immature bald eagle feathers. These are turkey feathers that were dyed to look like the tail feathers from an immature bald eagle. And the first thing one has to do to construct a fan is to manipulate the feathers into what the natural bird would have the curves in them to do. So there's always a center tail feather, which you can obviously see, but the feathers migrating out from the center all have a slight angle on them, right or left. Some turkey feathers already have that on there, and some need a little bit of trimming. Of particular note, if you look on the far right of that left screenshot, the feather that's got the darker spot in it, I'm pointing, but I can't see me pointing.
Do I need to back out?
No, that you're fine there. If you notice there, I trimmed off a lot of the feather. That's because it's supposed to be more like the outside tail feather, which on an eagle tail is much thinner on the outside than it is on the inside. So you trim these feathers up to make them look as close as what you can to what a natural eagle looks like. You can get thousands of photos on by Googling it and stuff to look at feathers to see how they're shaped and stuff. Then if you want to back out there to the big full screen of that shot, we'll see that on the bottom, there's these they're bamboo skewers that look like this. And, you can buy these at any grocery store or anywhere for shish kebabs. Is what they're made for. And that's what I extend those feathers with. And basically, you cut the tip of the quill off and you jam that spike in as far as you can. When you reach about up where the feather starts, you're going to meet resistance, and that's the point where you stop, or you'll poke it through the back side of the feather. Add a little bit of tacky glue in there and let them set, and then you got all your extensions. These are much longer than what's going to be needed, but you always start with them long and then work your way down to the size you want.
Yeah, what's the old term? Measure twice, cut once.
Right. And you want to make sure that you have them long enough to work with and stuff. And then on the second picture there, you'll notice that there's a purple row and you can't really see the white row yet, but underneath these is a little white cone that's made out of paper. And I use just like a little wood dowel that I have, literally like a pencil sharpener, kind of sharpened tip to it. It's tapered, that allows me to roll those cones so that they're all the same shape. And once I got those cones, I slide those up on the feather and glue those in place. And then you can glue the feathers, start gluing feathers on. Now, before we go any further, though, the process to get to those feathers is, you're starting off with a what's called a floret. Kind of looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that camera at?
Let me
I don't know if you
let me zoom in on it so we can see what you're holding.
Where's the camera? There we go. Put it right in front of my face. Anyway, little floret. And they have stuck to me, a natural curve to the top of them. And they have veins all up the side of them. So you got to make this where you can work with it. So the first thing you do is you kind of preen it like the bird would do to bring the veins back into shape the way they would be. And then you use a special kind of sealant spray. This is what I use.
Okay.
People use all different kinds of stuff. There's several different brands you can do. I'm not going to spray it indoors here because it's toxic, and I don't need to get high right now.
That we don't. I got so many jokes I can't pick one, so I'm just going to leave it alone.
No good. Anyway, so when you do this, you spray it from the back side, and you just have to lightly mist it, and hold it in your hands and do it. Because once you spray it, you kind of just do this to bring all the gaps together and set it aside and let it dry. When it's dry, I just so happen to have one ready. Oh, come here, you little booger. Looks like that. So it's already primed, and I like the little feathers on the top to be separated like that. It makes it look like more of a brushed look. You could cut them off straight. I have several fans where they're cut off straight, but you can do it this way. And then all you do is kind of glue the back side of these with tacky glue, and you wrap that around that little feather cone that's on there, and it starts to give its shape. The trick to starting this is to make sure you put all those little feathers on the same spot on your other feathers so that they match out. So if you want to go back to the picture with the purple on it, on the right side there, you'll see that those are wrapped with the purple, and they're wrapped pretty tightly. Each time you add another row, they get kind of a little bit bigger and stuff. And when you add these feathers on and stuff, I don't do this anymore. Now, as you can see there's another row of white cones. I don't do that anymore. After the first row of white cones, I just leave the previous row as my starting point and wrap around it. So in the next picture over, click, whoops.
Yeah, that was weird.
Okay, I've added the pink row, and then I added those little feathers, which are little pheasant feathers. They're neck feathers off a ringneck pheasant. And what you do is let's see if I've got one that's intact here. Here's one that's intact. This is what they kind of look like.
Ooh.
These ones color doesn't really show it. Those are pink, but it looks purple in the thing there and stuff. But anyway,
if you don't mind, a lot of times those feathers have been dyed for make fishing lures, correct?
Oh, correct. That's what these are all done for and stuff.
Okay.
These are all bought by from a guy that does fly tying and stuff. So but I have like yellows and greens and blues and stuff, and they, like they all come in a variety of ways. Like these blue ones are really crapped out, but if you pull them apart and preen them, they'll look better and stuff. But when you pull these out and work with them, you do the same thing. You pull them apart, you spray them from the back lightly and use your fingers to preen them while they're wet, and then lay them down on a piece of, I use freezer paper because it's non-stick and it allows you to put it down on it and let it dry. And once you've got them dry like that, again, you can clip them, use tacky glue, and glue them where you want. So in that picture that we were just looking at, going back, okay,
let me go. You need me.
Back to
get
that
back
one.
up.
Yep, please. The feathers there are kind of lined up. They're not perfect because in order to get a perfect match all the way across, you have to have several ring necks that you're picking from, because the feathers do get bigger as they come out along the neck there. So to find 11 of them or 9 of them that are exactly the same with the black tip and stuff is quite the challenge to get and stuff.
Well,
so
not to mention those hides, good ones. I mean, from a fishing lure store, they seem a little bit cheaper, but to get ones, the whole hide of that breed of pheasant, that's like $30-$40 a hide.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It ain't cheap.
Yeah. I don't buy the whole hides. I just buy the necks. Because I literally still have a hide that I bought probably when I was 20 years old. So like 45 years ago kind of thing, that I still pull feathers off of. So they last a long time, but most of those kind of feathers, those body feathers, are the feathers that are used in fans that don't have this wraparound technique, where they're just laid out in what used to be called an old style flat fan and stuff. So anyway, so if you want to go to the next slide, this is we've added the green to this, and then I put the leather around it, this, and I use a very thin white leather hide and wrap them around, crimp them on the back side with a pair of pliers, or I use my fingernails and my fingers to crimp them and trim them. And then you can see there's a little silver band around those. And that's silver chain that you can buy at a craft store like Joann's Fabric, and or I buy some also from a bead store. And you can get this in either sterling silver or just plain silver metal. And you basically cut the links apart and open them up and put them around your quill, and then crimp them back on the back side of it. It makes a nice little decoration to help hold the leather on, and to just give it another dimension of work on the bottom of it. And then, of course, now this already shows, I think later on in the macaw fan that we're going to look at, you'll see the handle being built. But I build my handles using Bondo or auto filler. Napa Auto Parts sells it. Home Depot sells it. Lowe's sells it and stuff. It's just an auto filler kind of stuff. And I use this. You use a hardener to make the plastic Bondo or the resin, whatever. And it makes it into a cream, and you kind of stick it down on your feathers down where you want them, hold them in place, and put this Bondo on to set the feathers, basically. And once the feathers are set, you just kind of create a handle around them. I use a wooden dowel. I think, James, you said you do too. I cut a notch out of the wooden dowel so that I have a post on the one side of it, and then it's notched out. And I set that post part on the back of the fan, and then build the Bondo up around it to get the shape I want. And I'm one of these people that I like the natural angle of the feathers. So if you notice that the fan from the part where the featherwork starts down to the circular part of the round handle, it comes at a pretty straight angle, straight down in a nice V. I kind of like that look. Some people like it done differently. Some people use
pretty
where they put the feathers and they come down, and there's a wide part of the handle, and it has just a mild curve, and it's down and stuff.
Yeah, that's the way a lot of the native craft stores will sell feather fan handles like that.
Right.
Just
And if you
throw
notice,
them down
most
right
of
there.
those aren't beaded.
No, and they're held a bead on that too.
Exactly.
I'm curious, is it, if you got some family out there where you've got, say, the son on a Saturday morning, he's gonna go, Mom, I'm working on a flat fan. I need to go to AutoZone for some Bondo.
Exactly.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
In
Yep.
high school, one time I was working on some a drum, and I said, I need more lace. I went, Dad, can you give me a ride to the store to Stater Brothers? Need to buy a dog chewy bone. I'm working on a drum. And somebody that is not knowledgeable on how that comes together, they're like, where does these fit? Hey, folks, if you can use duct tape on regalia, you can definitely use Bondo.
That's right. Duct tape, Bondo, baling wire, and a coat hanger, all necessary.
Oh, big time.
Equipment. Okay. Then the final picture there is this fan completed. This fan went to somebody back east, and it's gourd stitch beaded, all one piece with the rolled fringe out the bottom and stuff. When I bead those fan handles, I bead them from where the V starts going up down towards the fringe without the fringe being attached. I bead it to the last about ½ inch, and then I turn it over and I bead the part that goes up. I'm one of these people that likes to go and bead a fan and add the beads on the sides as I'm going up. Some people start at the big fat part at the top and take away beads. That's not the way I learned, and that's not the way I teach. I teach it the other direction, adding beads. And this is one time with beadwork that normally when you're culling your beads or going through them, you used to always throw out the really thin ones and just chuck them.
Yeah.
When you're doing gourd stitch, this is the one time you put those aside. You need those. Those are the perfect beads to add beads because they're thin and let you, next time you go around and use another thin bead, it leaves you where you don't see a gap in the side of your fan.
Yeah, and I can totally see where that helps with the transition down too. What size beads are you using on that fan?
I use 11/0 Charlottes or cuts.
Okay.
So I used to use 13 cuts, and I'll tell you why I don't use them anymore. Everybody goes to the thing like, well, my eyes are getting old, I can't see them. That's not the reason. The main reason is if you're making something to sell, 13/0 cuts take twice as long to do as 11/0 cuts, and people don't want to pay for that much work. As it is right now, as a crafts person, I'm lucky if I make $15 an hour if I'm doing crafts.
That's actually a good rate for an artist that's doing their own craft work.
Yeah, but if I'm doing 13 cuts and I'm selling it for the same price, I'm doing it for about $8 an hour, and that's not worth it.
That's still kind of better than some artists with the time they put into some of those parts. But
yeah.
Can I say something here?
Sure.
And about the pricing, I had a gourd that I did, and it had crushed pearl and crushed turquoise in diamonds all the way around it, 4 different places. It had embossing on it with this heat gun and this embossing powder, and then you melt it on top, and it had gold leaf. It had all this on it. Somebody offers me $40 for it. And I went, well, no, I said, that's way too low. And they're going, well, I think $40 is good. I'm like, no, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I'll make you a special gourd just for you, completely customized. I say, you come over to my house and you start in the kitchen. I'll be at my workbench. When I'm done, you're done. That kind of puts it in perspective for them, because by the time I'm done, it's 30 hours and my house is clean.
Yeah.
But that puts it in perspective for some people,
Yeah. I also give it a similar thing when somebody says squawks at the price, and I say, so when you go to work, how much an hour do you make? And they'll give me their price. And I said, fine, I'll just do it for what you make for an hourly rate. Because when I worked in my profession, I was a medical nurse, cardiovascular nurse specialist, and also did registered cardiovascular invasive specialty. So I made pretty good bucks and stuff. So I do my craft work because I love to do my craft work.
Yeah.
I think I set a fair price. And so if I set a fair price and somebody wants to negotiate with me, it just kind of turns me off from wanting to deal with the person.
Yeah.
So
I want to get us back on subject, but I do want to go ahead and just cap with a recent thing is that I had a individual who's looking at a large obsidian knife that I made, and that's hours of work just of knapping the obsidian.
Oh yeah.
And I had it
Lots
set
of
for
bandage.
I sold it for a certain amount, and he goes, "Here you go," and he overpaid by $50, and I'm getting his change. He goes, "No, that's for you," and I went, "Dude," and he goes, "No," he goes, "I appreciate the artwork. I love what you're doing. That's your tip." And I was like, "Okay, sure." He's like, "Yeah, go." And I'm like, people like that don't argue with the price and they pay over because they see it.
They appreciate it.
Is a huge affirmation that the people that come over and look at your work are not all Walmart shoppers looking for a bargain.
Right. Exactly.
And I loved that experience with that guy. I am thankful that he came by and bought that. One, I don't mind the money, but no more importantly, it reaffirms your faith that they're out there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and bring us back to the subject, bring us full circle back. Are you ready for the next slide?
I sure am.
Okay, coming up. It's not supposed to be a 2-hour show, but boy, howdy, we are doing some neat stuff on this show. Okay, here's the next slide.
Okay, this is the start of what I call shoulder feathers. Some people call these love feathers, but they're worn in the back of bandoliers of straight dancers. And this is just a set of little, these feathers are blue jay feathers that, funny story is one of my Native American friends has a hazelnut farm. And I guess these starling blue jays just hound his trees and stuff. And so needless to say, they end up, their tail feathers usually end up in my baggie. And stuff. So these are little individual feathers. Now, if you notice, if you look at these feathers closely, you can see some little bends, if you will, in the quills. Because
Yes.
I straighten these with a thumbnail. I just bend them with my fingernail and stuff, and my thumbnail just make them all straight and stuff. So this was just the start of them, putting in the decorations, a little bit of a floret on the bottom, a little floret on the tip, a little diamond cut piece of leather glued on and stuff. And then if you want to go to the next slide, I've put on the leather. And after I put on the leather, I left a little bit to make little fringes on the top and just a little bit of thread work at the top and the bottom of each one of these. And then from there, I connect these all together in a circular format. You put 2 feathers down and then put 4 feathers on top of it. And then you put the 4 feathers on top of it and 2 feathers on top of it, kind of thing, to make a circular pattern of your feathers. And I think the next picture has a conglomerate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. This shows from them being put in that circular format. And once they're made in that circular format, I wrap all those tails together with, Nymo thread and stuff, and then cover them with leather with that little tab on it. And bead the center part with that, again, gourd stitch beadwork and stuff to match. Made a little set of medallions to match it. And then sew those little tabs onto the back of that with the ties on it to go onto the bandoliers. So that's kind of a start to a finish. I'm actually not sure who owns these these days, but I don't. And stuff. But I do have a couple sets of those here that I'd like to just kind of show the real thing.
Let me highlight you as you're showing that so we get a good view.
And this is a pair of green parrot and stuff that are done similar. Let me get them all the view there and stuff.
Wow, that's
stuff.
beautiful.
Oops.
Really nice.
Where's my camera on this stupid thing? There it is.
Yeah, it's a little grainy, but we're getting the idea. Can you show us the backing on that?
The backing on it is just leather, and then you can see where on this particular one, well, you can see. Can you see the silver eyelet there?
Is that signature right there? It says Joni Loves Chachi.
No, that says originals by Scott T. Sutton.
Okay, it was hard to read this. I thought it was Johnny Loves Chachi.
But this one, I used the little silver eyelet, screwed it down on the top of it, and then just put a piece of leather through it and looped it and sewed that to the back of the medallion. So that's one set of these.
Okay.
And stuff. I keep these all in special little boxes and stuff so that they don't get too munchied.
Oh yeah.
Well, see, my little boxes are like little wood boxes and stuff. And this is a little different style where the feathers, oops, that needs to be preened a little bit, where the feathers are left out like a little flat fan. There we go.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So again, like on the back of it, they're just like the fans just sewn it. So I make these just like I did a little fan, and you add a little bit of bling bling to them and stuff, and then they look really nice and stuff. So that's a set of real runs in the process there. Close those up. We'll bundle those back later.
I love how I love how the idea of like bejeweled came out as kind of a joke with people bedazzling their clothes with bejewels, and somebody goes, I won't put that on regalia. And when some very creative natives going, hold my fry bread and bejewel the regalia. That joke should not be falling this flat. Okay, come on.
Well, you know how many beadwork pieces I do now that I put rhinestones in, which I never would have done in the past and stuff. But a lot of young ladies like the bling bling, and so
were you getting a lot of requests for rhinestone and regalia after Rhinestone Cowboy came out?
I don't know what the time period was. I knew when it came out as the strung rhinestones, man, it was like, oh, and they were so expensive to buy until you find the supplier that you can get them at a reasonable rate for.
Gotcha. Or cubic zircon and rhinestones.
Look for a place called Bead and Trim. Bead and Trim sells it. You have to buy all 11 yards of this stuff, but you'll get it at a much better price than you can if you buy it from Joann's or whatever, by the yard kind of thing.
Gotcha. Shall we move on to the next fan?
Certainly.
Okay. Let's go and bring it up here.
Okay. These are, again, turkey feathers that were dyed. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due. These are done by Curtis Wright. They're a beautiful set of feathers that he made out of turkey to make him look like probably a second-year golden eagle and stuff. Beautiful feathers and stuff. Started off the same way with the skewers in the bottom of them and things. And then you want to go to the next one? Did a little bit more decorative feather work here. Those feathers in the center, there's like a peacock. I'm not a peacock, but a parrot feather that's the light blue. And then a Japanese chicken neck feather is that little black and white looking dotted thing on it and stuff. Those things come, you talk about expensive. If you buy a section, you're usually like 3 inches by 4 inches, and they're like $40 for that.
Oh yeah,
very expensive. But there's a bazillion feathers on it, so there's a lot to do. And then there's the ringneck pheasants and stuff, and I made them to make them look like a circle, like a little floral kind of thing. And then I used the florets going down from the black to pink, blue to the yellow and stuff. If you notice on the very bottom, I have the feathers labeled 1, 2, 3, 4 and stuff, so that when I finally set them, I've got them in the right order that I know that they look the best in and stuff. You'll also notice that on there's another one of those Japanese neck feathers along the base of that kind of stuff. And so then the next picture, you can see that these feathers I set them closer, not in that big old fanned out way, in the sense that I'm carrying, I carry this fan. And so I don't, to me, the really wide fans are women's fans and stuff. I might get some flack for that, but that's what I observed historically and stuff. I know some guys use these big old honking fans and stuff, but I'm older. I like the narrower look and stuff. So anyway, this particular fan, just on a whim, I entered it in the state fair contest for craft work and stuff, and it won the judges award. I was so surprised when I saw that. I went, oh wow, okay, pretty cool. Got a nice fair amount of money for that and stuff. But so
way cool.
Anyway, again, beaded in 11-aught cuts and stuff. The white rolled fringe and little fringe coming out the tip of it and stuff.
Gotcha. I got no questions about that when coming over there, except for the feather fan spread. You and I could fill half a show just on that discussion. I like the spread out. Okay.
Yeah.
The only time I get requests for them narrow like this is women, older women.
But
regional, you're up in Oregon. I'm in mainstream California. You're in Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have Model Ts there. Not kidding. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
Actually, three garages down, he does have a Model T.
How cool is that?
It's pretty neat when he gets it out.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to the next slide here. Oh, you were talking macaw. Here's the grand.
This is the macaw fan. Now, if you notice, this is a little different on the bottom. This macaw, these feathers, there were no quills to them per se. The quills were mostly broken off, so I had nothing to stick a skewer into. So I thought, how am I going to do this? And what I did is I bought some rigid plastic tubing that was just big enough for the remainder of the quill to be stuffed into. So these are done a little different, and then I've used plastic tubing, rigid plastic tubing, to make the fan, to make the extensions. And then I did a little bit of feather work on the actual feather itself. Again, it's got some of that Japanese neck feathers coming up from on each feather. And then the white. Can you zoom in on the picture on the right? If you look closely at the red and the yellow, I took, like I said, after I've sprayed the back of those and stuff, I took a pair of pinking shears and pinked the tops of those so that they had a zigzag on them. And then if you do the next row and pink those, you've got the same size cut mark. So if you stagger them once, you'll make them look like diamonds. And that's kind of what those I did on those and stuff, to make them look a little staggered stuff. And then a little bit more intricate feather work on the center, again, using a lot of different ringneck pheasant feathers. But you can see the white one there. You can see the white one is so much bigger than the yellows and the reds there. And stuff. Yeah. And then you'll see that there's a black floret there that's cut stair-stepped. Again, once it's sprayed, you can cut these into stair steps or triangles or straight edges, and they will hold their shape and they won't lose it once they're cut. But one thing I would say is, like, I have my little pair of scissors here that say feathers on them. And that's all these are ever used for, is to trim feathers.
I have.
They're Ginger scissors, extremely sharp, but they don't touch anything but feathers, and not the quills. They only touch the feather part of it, not the quills.
I have my own pair of scissors I use just for leather work. If somebody picks this up, I have it lying on a table and I'm doing leather work, and they pick it up to like cut paper, I will beat them down. I will hurt them if they use this to cut paper, anything else other than leather, specifically deer hide.
I love Ginger scissors, and the reason I love my Ginger scissors is I can sharpen them with a sharpening stone, and
Nice.
keep my fine edge on them, because that one blade, one side's an anvil, one side's a blade, and if you sharpen the blade, the anvil will still cut. And so somebody screws them up, which is usually me. I can sharpen them back up and stuff, because sometimes I'll just grab a pair of scissors and think, oh, I didn't really want to cut that with that, but I do. I cut paper with my Gingers, and somebody had a heart attack on one thing I posted on Facebook. They said, "Are you cut that paper with your Gingers?" And it's like, yes, I am, but I sharpen them afterwards. I keep them all honed in and stuff. Okay,
Scott,
so you want to go to the next one?
Scott.
Oh.
I had to do the unnecessary zoom. All right, we ready to go back to the slide?
Right.
Coming up. Okay.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so now this one, you can see that I've got the leather on it, and they're tapered in, and I kind of got it set the way I want it. And then the one on the right, you can see the Bondo. You can see where I got the Bondo on it. Now, if you notice, the Bondo goes pretty straight across. Good luck on trying to hand paint Bondo straight across. It just don't work. So what I do is I use painter's tape. I put the painter's tape down over the top of the feathers where I want them. And I get the feathers to stay where they're at by using a steel block that probably weighs about 10 pounds or so. That's like a little anvil. I used to use it when I did my silver work. But I put that on top of the tips of the feathers to hold them in place. And then I tape down those quills right above where I don't want the Bondo, so that I can paint the Bondo all the way up there as liquid and get it in between the quills, because you got to open up the quills a little bit and get it in there and then stick it back so it holds it together and stuff. Go ahead.
What was that, Kelly Jo?
I said I was trimming the bottom of this, and I had little tiny feathers floating everywhere.
Yeah,
probably something you guys are really used to.
Oh yeah, that's what you keep your little dust, little shop vac. I have a little shop vac in my upstairs that I can pick up feathers.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, sometimes when I do a lot of feather work, you got to take the leaf blower to the garage.
Yeah,
and it looks like a bird got run through a grinder with all the little pieces of feather coming out from the garage when I run those leaf blower.
Okay, you want to go to the next slide?
Yes, sir. There we go.
Okay, we didn't have one intermittent to that, huh? Okay, so once again,
this is what I.
Okay.
You have the other one where you have the pocket with the Bondo on the bottom for the start work on the handle.
Okay, and then
this is the only thing I have that's.
I thought I had one that had the Bondo being layered on and stuff, but anyway, so the Bondo was layered onto with the handle on the back of it and stuff to add it in, and then again make the taper. And again, I like the long, narrow taper because I like it to go taper with the feathers and stuff. This one I might have done it, should have done it a little shorter and stuff, but it is what it is and stuff. It's still a really pretty fan and stuff. And then again, it's got the fringe and stuff on the bottom of it. Okay. Next one. Where are we at from here? Okay, well, these are some of the more different love feathers and stuff. And then the center feathers are a pair of scalp feathers that are done with paws and stuff. Scalp feathers are worn on the side of the head. For straight dancers, traditional dancers also wear them. And then another set of shoulder feathers. These were made for a guy down in Southern California. And the set on the left was made for a gentleman back in Oklahoma. And that was the first set of flat feathers I really had done and stuff. And they came out really, really nice. And he wanted that medallion with that staggered look on it and stuff, so that it looked a little different and stuff. But they came out very nice and stuff. And then I have several pairs of scalp feathers here. These are ones that are I guess I got to back up here.
Look at that. Double.
Now, see, now I bling these out. These have got jewels on them and stuff to make them all sparkle and stuff. But these again these are macaw feathers, and I use a lot of macaw only because they're completely legal and not too hard to come by. It does need a little bit of preening and stuff. But again, just stacking different layers of feathers to make different designs with and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got this is a set of blue. I'm going to say this wrong. Turco feathers that are extremely nice. I have a whole set of these that I'm going to make a fan out of and stuff.
Okay, let me zoom in on you to show that.
But these two were what I would call crappy feathers and stuff, and so they needed some help. And so I'm going to show the back of these. Maybe you can see some of the barb spots and stuff.
Yeah.
And so to make them look presentable, you fancy them up, decorate them up, hide the spots, use the cuts to make other cuts so that you don't see those cuts and stuff, and then just decorate the heck out of them.
It's like whenever I paint a feather. Hold on, let's hear a second. What, Scott? We lost you. Okay. All right, folks. Scott's got a little technical difficulty right now, so he lost his camera. So we're gonna before he comes back in. So Kelly Jo, while we're waiting for Scott, we've got about 8 minutes left in the show. Whew, we should have started early on this one. We've still got several slides and neat stuff to see, but we saw the fan construction to do that. And while we're waiting for Scott, folks, I want to show you just a little bit of what comes into the prep for featherwork. And so with that, Scott, you mentioned that he would use his thumb to put like an indent, a fingernail to put an indent in the feathers to make them straight. There's also a couple other ways to do that. When I'm painting feathers, I don't want to damage the fletching, so I won't do the crimp method. We use my fingernail to crimp the feather to make it go straight. Yeah, well, it looks like we lost him. He got kicked
I see
off,
what the issue with you trying to do this one.
Yeah, it can be a little bit straight. So while we're waiting for Scott to be able to sign back on, apparently his computer might have, well, I'll just say there's a lot going on. It's intensive to get this stuff done. I'm going to message him right quick, but I want to show you a quick video right now of actually straightening feathers. And so let me get that up so you can see where it is, just that early prep that goes to get these feathers ready just to put on a feather fan. So let me get that going here right quick.
Yeah, I want to see that. I think I was just scraping some.
I've actually done Facebook Lives for my business Facebook page, where I'll just show this just straightening, and I'll have it be like a half-hour video of this. But here is straightening the feathers. This is the time lapse. This is just one. I do it over 100-watt light bulb. All right, Scott's coming back. Let me get him back in.
Okay.
Oh, we got you back.
Like running out of power, right? When you're going like, holy crap, what happened?
Oh, no kidding, man. I was wondering if that was happening. So just kind of as a time filler, I'm showing a quick video just straightening a feather over a light bulb.
Okay.
Because I know you'll be back with that. But just showing the folks how it goes. It's just a quick time lapse of one of the prep work it takes just to get the feathers ready, primed and ready for the project, and just straightening them. I tend to straighten mine. I do over 100-watt light bulb. Let's just say I collect incandescent light bulbs like crazy so that I have a long supply of them. But you can use a tea kettle for the steam. You can use an iron. I happen to like to use the 100-watt light bulb just because it's just what I'm used to.
Yeah, so, and that's what one of the things you get used to doing some things one way or the other, and that's what ends up happening is you do what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, like when I'm painting the feather, I want the fletching, if I'm charging a lot of money for it, I want to be perfect. And you and I talked about crimping a few days ago during the meeting about using your fingernail to crimp the beads up there, but I don't want to do a bend to the fringe or do a bend to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the process. Let's go ahead and zoom in on you right quick.
Okay. These are a couple more different sets. This one set is made to look like an imitation bald eagle. Mm-hmm. And then these little black guys are peacock feathers that are made to look like peacock feathers, I guess. But again, just different decorations just to make them look nicer and stuff. This is more like a traditional kind of look where it's just layered feathers coming down on the sides, just stuff. And this is kind of like again the feather wrap, kind of different ways of doing it. But looking at your what you were just showing about straightening feathers brings me to one important point that I think we need to let everybody know, and that's to prep your feathers. You need to make sure that they're not bug ridden.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
There is a technique to doing this that works very, very well, and that is you freeze your feathers. You put them in the freezer, freeze them, and then you bring them out of the freezer for about no longer than 24 hours, but about 24 hours. And during that time, any mites or anything that were on those feathers, their eggs that have laid dormant will hatch. But the thing is, it won't get a chance to develop and create new eggs to lay new eggs. So once those eggs have hatched in that 24-hour period, put them back in the freezer for another day, and you will have no bugs and your feathers won't get eaten and stuff. There's nothing worse than going to your fan case or your feather case and open it up after 6 months of not using it and find out your feathers are all eaten up. Stuff. It's very sad to look at and stuff.
Any of us that have worked with feathers extensively have experienced that, to the point you want to invent new cuss words in languages that don't exist.
Yes. So I don't know where we were at with slides there. I think we were.
We still have a few slides left of the shoulder bustles.
Okay.
The shoulder feathers, and then a few feather fans. We're actually at 10:57 right now, so normally we end the show at 11. Do you want to go a few minutes overtime on this?
If you want to, I have some live fans to show too.
Kelly Jo, you good?
Yeah, sure.
All right, folks, we're going to go into overtime with this. Stick with us. This is cool stuff. All right, so let me go ahead and get the slide up, and I'll get the next slide up for you, and we'll share this. And that's not the one we want. We want that one. There we go.
Okay. Again, another set of feathers and stuff. That center feather is a set again that are painted feathers. The ones on the right are shoulder feathers made out of duck feathers, and then the ones on the left are the ones I showed you that are mine, that are my little fans that I wear on the back of my vest and stuff. So, if you want to go to the next one. These are some fans. The one on the left are peacock feathers, again, that are done, I believe these are done by Curtis Wright. And they're have the color taken out of them to make them white, and then he adds the orange back in them to make them look like a male black cockatoo.
Nice.
So that's a set of orange. The one in the center is an English grouse tail, which are completely legal in the states and stuff and can be mailed. And if you noticed on this one, I don't know, can you zoom in on that one?
Yeah, let me go ahead and get it, because I was about to ask if you want me to, because there's a lot of detail in this.
Yeah. Well, this one is done in the old traditional style of flat fans where the feathers are just layered on, and these are done just by piling on the feathers one at a time to fill in the gap to make those rows of feathers, starting with the light pink to the purple, yellow, and then the red and stuff, and just layering them on and filling in the sides of them rather than wrapping them around. And the back was done the same as the front so that it's fully done. I don't think I have that actual fan here, do I have that female cockatoo, black and white.
Okay. Well, Scott, while you're looking at that, we do have a question right now that was relayed. We have Maya asking right now, on how long does it on average did you create one of the pieces, like say one of the feather fans?
It takes the majority of the work is actually in the feather work and doing the wrapping of the feathers. If you're going to wrap feathers with those little florets, that's more time consuming than doing the beadwork. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do one row of those feathers and stuff to prepare them to wrap them. Wrapping them's easy. It's doing all the prep work to get them ready to cut them and to spray them, and because you get glue all over your fingers. And
oh yeah.
So it takes longer to prep. So and an average, and then rolling the fringe and doing that work and stuff. It takes me about a week, start to finish, to make a fan and stuff.
Got it.
On average. Now that's me. Don't compare it. Don't think you're going to get it done in a week and stuff. I'm a little speedy on getting things done and stuff than most people are. But I've been doing this since I was a kid. So.
Got it. All right, so let's go back to the slideshow here. Do you want me to advance the slide, or?
I don't have that fan down here, but let's see. What is this one?
Okay.
This is a different little macaw fan that, let's see, how can I get that? That is one of my favorites. It's a littler feathers and stuff, but again, it's done. And then now I can actually show you the back of it where it all matches up, except that there's no, right here, there's no neck feathers from that pheasant there because it's on the back side. So only the front side really shows those.
Yeah.
Stuff. And this is done with a pearl white background, so it's a little bit different and stuff. And then with the fringe on the bottom of it. Things.
I got to mark it. It's so hard to find good military macaw, which is the red on the backing and some of the red on the front of the macaw feathers. And if I know somebody, if I meet somebody with a scarlet macaw, I want them to be my best friend because I want them feathers. Yes, I only like them because of their bird.
That's look.
When I get my hands on my macaw, I am having some serious fun with that.
I'll give you a contact to get those.
Well, Scott, you're my new bestie.
Okay, so this is another one. These are again painted, dyed to look like gold. I'm not sure where I got these feathers from. These aren't Curtis's, but anyway, again, this is done with a light purple.
I like that one. I like them all, but I like.
I like that one too. Purple.
But these are, and this has got down here. There's 3 layers. These are body feathers off of one of those pheasant skins that I've had for 100 years. But there's 3 little layers of those body pheasant, and these are body pheasant ones that are just all stacked up to just make them look like more design and stuff.
Yeah. No, those aren't ring neck. What breed of pheasant is that right there?
Those are, what's the name of it? Lady Amherst.
Okay. Lady Amherst got such a great variety of feathers. I can use one hide. I can make so many cool projects.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said, I've had that thing for just 100 years and stuff. And
it means it's antiquities.
It just goes and goes. Let's see. And I've got a couple that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, we still have a couple slides too if you want to go through them.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Let me go ahead and bring up another slide right here. We have these 3, another macaw feather fan. That might have been the one you just showed.
That one. And that one that is the turkey. What kind of turkey are you? Start with a W.
That's Royal Palm turkey, I believe, is the right
palm, yes.
Yeah. The middle one's the black cockatoo.
Yeah.
Cockatoo.
And that's the female version of the black cockatoo.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I like the Royal Palm turkey wing on the feather fan on the right because it's the same kind of tail feathers you see, and I forget the breed of hawk, the species.
Oh, Harris hawk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very close. Pretty similar, put it that way.
Yeah. Now, these, you're going to drool over these ones. You haven't seen this, man.
Okay, let's take a look. See, drooling.
This one, these are big feathers.
Oh yeah,
big feathers.
Big tail feathers.
This one, the fan has 2 different handles that go to it.
Look at that! It screws together.
It screws together.
Wow.
So this is one handle,
dude,
and stuff, and then
you can put different handles on that fan.
I can.
You can have it screw the top of a helmet, and it's longer.
And now the story is is that I took this fan to Texas and was dancing with it with this handle, and I came home and this was lost. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I had to make another handle to so I could use this fan because I had more of the ferrules and stuff. But when I was going through, of all things, my big feather box, at the bottom of that feather box was that other fan handle. How it got there, I have no idea.
You would never found it until you made a new handle for it.
Exactly. Well, until I was digging for different kind of feathers, and if I wasn't digging for those feathers, I would have never found that other handle. And I came down, I told my wife, I said, look what I found. I had people looking all over Texas for this because I was at Paluska dance, and I had everybody going, did anybody see a green fan handle? I'm missing it. If you've seen it and stuff, but let's see, what is this? That's the black and white. You guys have already seen it.
All right, folks. So while we're liking like that, let's see if we got any few comments. We have Wendy Hodge that says, I can't quit saying wow.
Oh.
Wow, Wendy. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kelly Joe? What do you think? What do you say to Wendy?
That's what I've been saying is wow as well.
This fan, which you saw a picture of it and stuff, but this one is it needs to be steamed anyway, is the female version of that black cockatoo, and it actually won second prize at the National Powwow, where Craftwork is judged by not category, but by, like, fans are judged against whole beaded suits and everything else. It's like what they have a first, second, third prize, but it was being judged against a bear claw necklace. It was being judged against a full riding suit and several other things that were just like incredible. So for it to win second place, I was quite surprised on that and stuff. But I don't usually carry this because I don't have anything orange. I might have to make an orange outfit to go with some of this orange stuff.
You need to make an outfit based off Caltrans.
Stuff,
if I was a Caltrans worker, I would be dancing POW songs out there along the freeway in the construction area with that van.
Good stuff.
And I think
that's it for my show and tell stuff. I have about 14 other fans, and I just thought there's not enough time to do them all.
Well, we still have a couple of slides that that was the last slide right there.
Okay.
So that showed like the female cockatoo and whatnot. So let's see what Kelly Joe's got right there. Kelly Joe, I'm going to zoom in on you. Let's see what you created this evening during the show. Cool. What you got? Do you want to kind of tell us about it?
Oh, I just painted it, and I messed up just a little bit right there, but I didn't want to get up and get the Q-tips and the rubbing alcohol to get rid of it, so I can get rid of it later. So just a little paint and added a few more feathers down at the bottom, and really just kind of tied that in and held it with my hair clip.
Hey, if there could be a screw-in fan handle, hair clip, why not?
That's right.
But yeah, that's one thing is when I'm painting a feather, I'll just use one. I got one right here where I painted with the USMC logo on it. When I'm painting a feather, if I mess up on it, the more stylized it looks, like going, oh, look, he's really stylized that, is because the more I screwed up on initially painting it.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes the mistakes make the best effects, Sometimes the mistakes are what do it.
Oh, yeah. One time I was painting one that says, I was doing one that's based off a green corn harvest for Southeast nations. And I'm painting it, and I actually did a blob of green paint at the top of the feather. I was like, oh, dang it. And I kind of looked at it and went, all right, let's work with it. It became a spider.
Yeah.
And then I spent another hour doing an intricate kind of like Dreamcatcher spider web type of look to it, background on the green corn harvest, and went on its own. That's just because I accidentally hiccuped when I was painting the top of the feather. So it was meant to be. All right. We definitely have we have a Marine in the crowd because we have an oorah.
Oorah.
Yep. And from Maya, we have Ooh, super rad. And how intricate. So that's cool.
All right.
Beautiful stuff.
Any
All right.
other questions that we had?
We covered it. We're 10 minutes into overtime. And, I think I'm not going to add anything to this. I had some other stuff I was going to bring in. I already showed kind of like the time lapse of working with the Featherwork, but largely you've covered it. Anything I could have with the video and showing just the detail on that one, and gave people a really good insight of what it takes to make a feather fan, and maybe some inspiration and some ideas they can do to develop their own styles. I'll say I was going to show mine. Totally inappropriate. Scott's just covered everything amazingly. And my style is very differently, folks. And if you want to try this, work on your own style. Look at pictures, take what you learned tonight, look what others have done, and develop your own style on this one. If you powwow, do that. With that, Scott, I kind of have one more question for you.
Sure.
How many pairs of moccasins have you made now?
419.
419. I remember when you were at 398.
Yep.
Back in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. Fully beat pair of moccasins.
You gonna go for 500?
Possibly if if the Lord lets me stay around that long.
Gotcha. Well, I think it's a good thing going. The Lord may just say, you need to do slightly more beadwork. And then when you get up to heaven, and St. Peter's gonna be at the gates, go there, heaven, going, hey, can I get a pair of beaded moccasins?
Well, the pearly gates, if they're not beaded correctly, we'll have to fix those first.
Okay. So, folks, that we've seen that tonight. I was going to cover Amazon. I'll just do that next week of some of the things from Amazon. But I got to show at least one thing, just very quickly. I did get this little mini air pump. I got other things, but I got to show this because I went to the effort of putting the thing together. I got a little air pump right here that, this sucker's really powerful. Kid you not, I use that to blow up this giant inflatable pool shark. And it inflated in under 2 minutes. This is Mr. Sharky Face. I've actually taken him down waterfalls with me, whitewater kayaking.
It's a little hammerhead.
A little hammerhead, Mr. Sharky Face. That little thing blew this up in under 2 minutes.
Wow.
I'll have to film some fun with it and go over, but I just had to show that because I went to the effort of inflating Mr. Sharky Face. I had to see it through.
I need one of those. I need one of those.
Yes, you do. All right, folks. A big, huge thank you for Scott coming back on our show again. I can't wait for time number 4. Maybe we can talk about moccasins number 542 and a half.
Okay. I'd like to make one disclaimer here. There are many fabulous fan makers out there and stuff that have websites. Patrick Scott is a great fan maker. Curtis Wright makes great fans. Tom Risden makes beautiful fans. Brian Stoner makes beautiful fans. There's lots of people out there that make beautiful fan work and stuff. So my work is okay, but some of theirs is spectacular. If you really want to see some great fans, go to Patrick Scott's website. I believe he's Dene. He's Navajo. Just absolute gorgeous fans that he does. They're just gorgeous.
If you can send me a link, I'll amend the shows and I'll put that in the show notes for people. We do have a link for this show right now to your Pinterest so that people can see more of your work.
Okay.
And we have that link, but if you want to send that to me, like I said, I'll amend the shows on there so that we can have that so people can see that and get the link. And I'm sorry, 10-second memory. What was the artist's name?
Patrick Scott.
Patrick Scott. My apologies to you and to Patrick Scott, but we get that link up there. We can share it right there in the show notes and the post right here of Patrick Scott and give him that old late night craft talk push.
Okay.
And all of a sudden he's gonna be like this. His heads will look like this the rest of the days. Little blurry, making that featherwork, knocking it out, and he might have a marble statue made of him.
All right.
All right. I know, kind of weird off the rails, but it's 11:15. We got it. We can progressively see us getting like this as the night goes on. But that's why we have Pepsis and drinks and teas, all that to keep us going. All right. I didn't get my box of Oreos. I can't exactly walk out in the middle of the show to go grab that. Going, Scott, I'll be right back. And be like, but you're the host. So,
All
folks,
right. Great fun.
We got
Thank
a lot
you.
of thank you coming in. You can probably see them right there from our viewers. Awesome, folks. Thanks for sticking with us. It's 11:16 is the latest the show's gone in quite a while. Our first years went a lot later. So with that, this has been this week's episode of Late Night Craft Talk. Survey will be back next week. Scott, again, thank you. Can't wait to have you on fourth time in a row. Kelly Jo.
Nice to meet you.
Oh yeah,
Nice to
Kelly
meet you,
Jo.
Scott.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming in to co-host. Always awesome we have you. Lots of fun tonight, folks. This is one of those standout shows again. So with that, this has been this night's episode of Late Night Craft Talk.
It was a pleasure.
Cut dance. I'm a dance. Fruits and hat special. The dance.
Aw, ain't he cute?
He is cute.
Good night, folks.
Good night.